Good morning, Redeemer. Welcome to the final daily word of the week. It is Saturday, June the 6th, and we are looking at John chapter 13. I want to read it to you all the way through to verse 38, and then we'll stop a few times for some commentary, but I really want to focus in on a couple of key truths, and then we'll wind the week down together. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments and he took a towel, tying it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand." See, Peter thought this was just some mere washing of dirt off his feet. In those days, the dirt would be covered, their feet filthy, because they walked around with sandals and with bare feet very often. Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered to him, "If I do not wash you, you have no share with me." So of course now Peter says, "Lord, not my feet also, but my hands and my head too." Jesus said to him, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you." For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, "Not all of you are clean." Imagine Judas in the room, the man who's going to betray you to the cross. You're going to wash his feet, and you even know what he's going to do, and you still show love and humility. That's Jesus. When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, "Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right. So I am. If then I, as your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet." A powerful truth. "For I have given you an example, that you also should do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly," and there's a use of dual language, two words back to back, truly, truly. He's very adamant. He wants you to listen to this. "I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. I'm not speaking of all of you. I know whom I have chosen, but the scripture will be fulfilled. He who ate my bread has lifted his heel against me. I am telling you this now before it takes place, that when it does take place, you may believe that I am he." Once again, Jesus pointing to prophecy and his prediction of what's going to come to pass as a way to provide assurance and a reminder and an evidence to his disciples that that was really Jesus. He predicted this would happen, and now it did. "Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever," in verse 20, "receives the one I send receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me." After saying these things, Jesus was troubled in his spirit. And he testified, "Truly, truly, I say to you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at each other, uncertain of whom he spoke. One of his disciples, whom Jesus loved, was reclining at the table at Jesus' side. By the way, that's John talking about himself. Just a little side note there that makes you smile and get a little glimpse into John's personality. So Simon Peter motioned to him and to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. So that disciple, leaning back against Jesus, said to him, "Lord, who is it?" Of course, John making sure everybody knows that he was closest to Jesus. Jesus answered, "It is he to whom I will give this morsel of bread when I have dipped it." So when he had dipped the morsel, he gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. Then after he had taken the morsel, Satan entered him. Jesus said to him, "What you are going to do it quickly." Now no one at the table knew why he said this to him. Some thought Jesus, because Judas had the money bag. Jesus was telling him to go buy what we need for the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the morsel of bread, he immediately went out, for it was night. Last few verses here. A very big truth. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and glorify him at once. Little children, yet a little while I am with you. You will seek me, and just as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I'm going, you cannot come. So Jesus is going, they can't come yet. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. Simon Peter says, Lord, where are you going? Jesus says, where I'm going you can't follow, but you will follow afterward. Peter said to him, Lord, why can I not follow you now? I'll lay down my life for you. Jesus answered, will you lay down your life for me? Truly, truly, I say to you, the rooster will not crow till you have denied me 3 times. A lot of different moments there in the narrative leading up to the cross. But some scholars have called this the farewell discourse because Jesus is leaving final words with his disciples. And one of the most targeted or heart-piercing in my mind is his words about love. In all of this, he adds a new commandment, almost a summary of how they're to treat one another. And it's a command directly from Jesus. Love one another, just as I have loved you. And how did he love them? Well, many different ways, in teaching them and guiding them. But also, we can't miss that the foot washing just happened prior to that. How did he love them? He, even as a leader, even as someone who was smarter, even as the Lord, humbled himself, served them, washed them, loved them, and he modeled that for them. And so for us today, as we read through the farewell discourse of Jesus' words leading up to the cross, we're reminded of the way that he came to serve, and that we also likewise are here to serve one another. And also, even in the midst of differences, even in the midst of challenges and trials and frustrations and emotions and sin, one of the greatest ways we prove and show that we are a follower of Jesus is to love the other followers of Jesus. Let that be what marks us today and moving forward into the weekend as we worship together and beyond. I love you, Redeemer.